So welcome. Thank you all for taking the time to come out tonight. It is really inspiring to see so many people here supporting such a great initiative. My name is Sarah and I'll be your host for tonight. I hope you've all had the time to have a drink or three, if not the bar's over there. I was thinking of telling some other funny jokes, but I'm really not a funny person, so I'll just stick to why this project is so important to me, not just as a woman facing gender inequality on a daily basis, but because seeing someone so important to me dedicate his time and effort into such a great cause. I'm sure you're all wondering what this event and sculpture is really about. Is gender inequality even an issue here in Canada? How does this sculpture relate to gender inequality? How can I help? Many of these questions will be answered throughout the speeches, and for those that aren't, we will be having a question and answer period throughout the night. In the meantime, we will be having some speeches and music from some very inspiring people. First, I'd like to introduce you to Mike Saleh. Mike has been with this project since the beginning and was instrumental in navigating the initial bureaucracies of UBC in order to construct the necessary approvals of this project. He was able to do so because he was extremely involved at every level at UBC. He sat on the UBC's Board of Governors for 2 terms, as well as acted to represent the students, the community, and the administration, which have helped UBC develop into what it is today. So please welcome Mike Saleh.
Thank you, Sarah. It's the problem of being a tall person. There we go. So thank you all for coming. I hope you've had as much fun as I have so far. It's great to see a lot of new faces and a lot of familiar faces from the last event. It's also good to see so many people out to support such a, what I think is a very inspiring project that will benefit future generations all over the world. This sculpture marks a crossroads. It marks a crossroads in its profound meaning, unique artistic expression, and deep engagement with the greater public as well as students around the city. We have students here tonight from UBC, Emily Carr, SFU, and Capilano University, and they're all here volunteering because they really believe in this, so give them a round of applause. What excites me about this project is the mission to increase current and future generations' symbolic aptitude towards an issue that has entangled society through a centuries-old belief, that men are better than women. Think about that for a second. Men are better than women. I'm sure such an overt statement like that can be scoffed off as sexist, misogynist, or just plain wrong to most of you. But if this is the case, then why do we still see the aftershocks of this age-old thinking play out today? Why do we see the statistics telling us that 1 in 4 North American women will be the victim of sexual assault in their lifetime? Think about that for a second. 1 in 4. Why do we not discuss the fact that 80% of those victims were assaulted by either a friend or a family member? Think about it. Why do we see Canada lagging behind 56 other countries when it comes to women in political roles, with only 25% of legislators being women? Those same roles that can most affect change in the society for it to be what we need it to be. Why do we accept this? Many of you will be quick to say, but we don't accept this, and I'm sure many of you don't. If you did, you probably wouldn't be here tonight supporting a project like this. And for this, as a young man who believes that we can move towards a better future, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Many of you may be aware that it has taken years for our group to get to where we are now. It started 2 years ago with the 2013 graduating class, looking to give a landmark gift to the university. The result of such a long, meticulous process to go through the approval process, which just ended this summer at UBC, has allowed some benefits to arise. We've been able to engage the UBC administration and community on every level, which has led to the sculpture being approved to be constructed in the central courtyard of Marine Drive Residence, one of UBC's largest student residence that houses over 800 students. That'd be cool if it's 800,000. It has also allowed the project to engage in UBC in discussions around the redesign of the courtyard, one thing that I'm particularly excited about, in order to ensure that the sculpture is the focal point of one of the busiest areas on campus. This nod of approval by UBC highlights why I'm most excited about this project, and that is the ability to educate future thought leaders through the medium of arts. I mentioned earlier that this sculpture has the potential to benefit future generations around the world, and I was not exaggerating. With 20% of UBC's population being international students, and that's set to rise significantly over the coming years, this sculpture stands as an opportunity for future generations to look, to learn, and to ultimately change the trajectory of how societies around the world view women. Not only will it act as a reminder to those who are impacted by this art, it is my hope that this sculpture will resonate of deep understanding between the sexes through multiple degrees of separation that humanity collectively shares. Supporting this sculpture is not just a way to support a beautiful piece of art. It's a commitment to stand up for intolerance and backward thinking of the past. It is a commitment to support future students and current students in their future discourses. It is a commitment to help shape destiny. And I challenge you, and I invite you to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike, for that wonderful speech. It was very interesting to hear the steps the team had to make in order to get where we are. It's also great to hear a man's perspective on this issue, seeing as the involvement of men in the struggle of gender inequality is equal, if not more important, than the involvement of women. Which brings me to our next speaker, Miriam Russell. Miriam's a fourth-year student at Emily Carr. Aside from sitting on the When Women's Rise Initiative Board of Directors, Miriam is an inspiration to future women as she is involved in countless organizations, boards, and committees. But aside from her business side, Miriam is also an amazing photographer. She will give a great perspective of the importance and meaning of this project from a perspective of young women. So please welcome Miriam.
Pretty short here, so I'm gonna readjust. Okay. Thank you very much for that intro. Okay, I would like to start with a statement. I think that there will be no end to gender discrimination if men and women don't realize that they are in this together. I would really like to point out and acknowledge that the topic of gender discrimination does not exclude men. When men and women alike are brought up in a culture with families that teach them to believe that they have to live up to all predefined standards regardless of their ability and solely based on their gender, we end up with a major segregation in society where equality is dismissed and gender roles become the dominant factor in deciding people's fates. So if as men and women, we don't work together to break this cycle and exclude one another from the conversation, we are paving the way for ignorance and lack of understanding that ultimately will not end in a result that people can benefit from. In short, I want to point out is that the cycle that creates gender discrimination will not end until men and women learn that they have to work together to overcome it. This issue of gender equality is not just a woman's issue, it's a man's issue also. I think that our world has made a huge improvement in recent years in acknowledging the problems that we have in our society and our society has faced, and has taken steps to overcome it, but we still have a long way to go. Gender equality is not just the problems that governments have to solve. It's a problem embedded in our culture from centuries ago that every single one of us has to recognize and work on to overcome, not just on a social level, but most importantly on a personal level. Every person who is here tonight to support this sculpture knows that if they have been raised to believe in gender equality, it is because of conscious or subconscious influences of ordinary people who they have been around or raised by that have carved these values in their logical and belief systems by their words and actions. I personally owe this belief to my dad, who always reminds me that I am no less than a man when it comes to dreaming about my future. I owe it to my mom, who struggled to show her conservative family that she wants to be independent, and with her struggle taught me how blessed I am to have parents who support me to be independent. I owe it to my grandmother, who didn't get a chance to start secondary school and dedicated her life to raising her boys in a sexist culture, but responsibly taught them how to respect women and taught them to understand the importance of gender equality. These people and many others that I'm sure each and every one of you know may not be famous, but it's people like them who truly are the real change makers of our society. They are the little-known inspirations who have made each and every one of us understand and believe in gender equality. So this is your chance to introduce your little-known inspirations to the world too. I would like to invite you to think and remember about one person who you think has had the most influence in shaping your perspective about gender equality, and write their name on one of the cards that you can find at the back and also on your tables as you've been handed at the door. And by writing their names on these cards, you'll get a chance. So we will collect these cards, and these names are going to be incorporated in the design of the plinth of the sculpture as a symbolic gesture to show that this sculpture is standing up as a result of the efforts of all of these people who have silently contributed to making our world a better place. We have even taken this idea a step further, and I'm excited to announce that we are also on the verge of launching a Facebook page where you or anyone you may know may also get a chance to introduce their little inspiration to the world too. In this Facebook page, we encourage you to send us a picture and a story about how you were inspired by this significant person, so that others will learn their strategies and hopefully get inspired too, to implement their ways into their own daily lives. I don't like labeling myself as a feminist or a women's activist, as each label may carry a predefined social weight that stops people from seeing the real goal and the bigger picture. I would like to call myself a peace seeker. I'm an ordinary peace seeker who believes that men and women should have the right to be seen first as humans and not defined by their sex. Men and women are both human beings who should have access to the same human rights. This monument is being built not only in support of women's rights, but also ultimately it's being built to promote the bigger picture, and that picture is gender equality. I would like to thank Mehrdad for initiating this great conversation, and I would like to invite our team, or I would like to thank our team who worked tirelessly to put this event together. And last but not least, I'd like to thank all of you for supporting this cause and joining us tonight. And I, with my friends Japanese and Sama, will be waiting at the My Little Known Inspirations booth and hoping to see the names of your little known inspirations on the cards as well that you have. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
So thank you, Miriam. Mike, myself, and Miriam aren't the only students working on this event. In fact, most of the staff who helped make this event a reality today are students. So they are volunteering their time to make this possible, and I'd like to give a big round of applause for everyone who helped out tonight. Now I'd like to introduce to you our guest of honor, Mehrdad Jamalzadeh. Mehrdad was born in Afghanistan and moved to Canada at the age of 5 with her family, escaping from the Afghani Civil War. Mehrdad studied broadcast journalism at BCIT, as well as philosophy and political sciences at UBC. Since graduating, Mehrdad has built a successful music and television career. Mehrdad was the first Afghan woman to perform at the White House in front of Mr. and Mrs. Obama. And as a quick aside, for all of those in the audience with a secret talent, Mehrdad was also the host of Afghanistan's Got Talent. So tonight, Mehrdad will be performing with her band and sharing some of her experiences. It is with great pleasure to welcome Mehrdad Jamalzadeh.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. I will start off with a song. We're just waiting for the keyboard to load up. Thank you so much. Teşekkür. Well, I would like to thank Sarah John for the introduction. And I would also like to thank Mr. Mehrdad Rahbar and his entire team who have put this beautiful event together. Is it ready? All right, we're good to go. بخبر از دنیا خنده با گوشم میرم نای هستی را در دامن صحرا بیخبر از دنیا Thank you. So again, I would like to thank Mr. Mehrdad Rahbar and everyone involved in putting together this amazing event and giving me the honor of participating in this wonderful cause, When Women Rise. I was born in a war zone. My family and I fled Afghanistan when I was 5 years old, like Sarah John mentioned before. We ended up here, and as I grew up, I watched from afar what was happening to the country that I had left behind. I couldn't help but feel guilty of all that I had here while women and girls were suffering back home in the country that I had left behind. When I was in my teens, my parents reminded me that I should consider myself very lucky. It was given to me by them and by society to do something for the women back home who were facing so much violence against them. What my parents said to me, it stayed with me for a very long time. And I thought that I should do something that could, make a difference. So as I watched Afghanistan become the worst place for a woman to live, and this is actually a fact, I watched the numbers, the highest maternal mortality rate, highest infant mortality rate in the world, violence against women at epidemic proportions. They didn't even have the basic human rights. I thought I had to do something about it. As I watched from here, growing up with the opportunities and everything given to me, I decided to study journalism. I wanted to use that as a means to make a difference and speak out. When I went to school, I realized that journalism is limited and you can't always speak your mind or be biased. So then I decided that, well, with the help of my parents and of course their advice, I decided to take vocal lessons. Now I knew that this was going to be a major effort. It was going to take a long time and dedication and determination and a lot of financial investment from my parents. And without my parents' help, this would have been mission pretty much impossible. So I started with the vocal lessons and I was very dedicated and determined. And I started, the reason that I got into music in the first place is I realized that if I were to end up in politics or even journalism or anything else, it would take me years and years to finally get the attention of people. And I thought, what's easier than, what's an easy way to get out there and have a voice and speak my mind and kind of take a shortcut. And I was watching a presidential speech and I realized that my friends weren't really paying attention, and as soon as the music came on, they started singing along. And I was like, and a light bulb went on. And I said, I think music, and I had no interest in singing, I had no interest in fame or any of that, and it was the last thing on my mind, but when I saw this, I thought, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. So that started the vocal lessons, and actually the years of vocal lessons. And then, because my dad is a poet, I thought this is a perfect way. Not only is he a poet, but I know that feminism is a word, it's a very strong word, but the definition, like Miriam was explaining, it's someone who wants peace and gender equality and people who just want to see women and men as human beings. And that's what my father is. And that's what he stands for. I grew up with his ideologies, and I grew up with my mother's ideologies, which was the same. So I decided that I was going to ask my father for help, and he is a poet and a feminist, and I thought this is going to be perfect. My mother became my manager, and my brothers did my internet work, so it was perfect. It was a family effort. and we decided to do a few songs. And the first song was very patriotic, and my father said, well, there are no female singers. After 30 years of war, there were no new female singers in the Afghan music industry. So he said, since you're the first after so many years, why not sing for Afghan boys? So I sang a song called Sher Bache Afghani. And I mentioned all different provinces and all the boys from different provinces and their traits and the good things about them. Then the real work came along, and one day there was an attack on a few girls that were walking home from school in Kandahar city, and I guess this was they wanted to scare them off from going to school. And I watched this on the news, and one of the girls said, they are not going to scare me off from getting my education. I will continue to go. And her face was covered with acid. At the same time that I was watching this news, my father was watching it back home while he was working with the Canadian Forces in Kandahar. He came back during his vacation, and he handed me a piece of paper, and he said, I wrote this on the way home, and I hope you can do something about it, and I hope you can turn this poem into a song. And it was a reminder of basically the lyrics. Most of you will know as I'm singing it what it means, but it was a reminder to the country that women had so much, they had such a big role in the history of Afghanistan and the history of, society. So he just wanted to remind people of that. And so now I'm going to sing you that song, which I ended up also singing for President Barack Obama and the First Lady and their guests on International Women's Day. So I'd like to perform that for you, and I hope you like it. Thank you. Oh, and I also have to mention that Milad Fakhiri, my good friend, wrote this, helped me with the song and arranged it when you were how old?
17?
Yeah, I think he was 16 or 17. It was one of the first songs he's ever arranged, and I'd like to thank him for that. And also, I'd like to thank Saliman John as well. This is my band, and they're always with me. دختر افغانم من دختر ملک دل ایرانم من دختر افغانم من دختر ملک دل ایرانم من مشکن بال و پرم را مشکن تاج سرم را مشکن بال و پرم را مشکن تاج سرم را مشکن بال و پر مشکن تاج سرم را مشکن تشکر بسیار زیاد. Thank you so much. So, I ended up right after that in the White House performance. I got the opportunity to host a 1-hour show inside Afghanistan, and I was actually called in there to host the show Afghanistan's Got Talent. But when I got there, after my parents finally allowed me to go to Afghanistan, my mom told the producers and the directors, she said, if my daughter's gonna be here away from her freedom and away from her family and her friends, then I want it to be worthwhile. So we want to make an Oprah-style show. And so that's how the Mehrdad show came about. And so instead of sending my message across to people through music, now I had a 1-hour show a few times a week, and I got to speak about it that much more to millions of viewers. And so this was a great opportunity, and we discussed children's issues, and we discussed women's issues and domestic violence, and even got to the topics of divorce, which pretty much eventually forced them to, the government forced me to stop continuing my show because it became too controversial, and they said that we were speaking about taboo subjects that weren't even spoken about inside households, out in public. And so they forced the show to stop. And I'm working on it right now to get the show started again. So violence against women is explained by using culture and religion to justify it. The first violence that happened by the Taliban was against women. I have some statistics here. I know statistics can be a little bit boring, but bear with me. It's just, it's some interesting and really disturbing numbers. Violence causes more death and disability worldwide among women than war, cancer, malaria, and traffic accidents. 99% of maternal deaths occur in developing countries, with women continuing to die of pregnancy-related causes at the rate of 1 per minute. 41 million girls worldwide are still denied a primary education, let alone a secondary. In Afghanistan, only 2.4 permanent full-time workers are female. They have included equality in the constitution in Afghanistan, but it is not being practiced because most women don't know their rights. In Ethiopia actually has one of the highest maternal mortality rates as well. 74% of women have undergone female genital mutilation. More girls miss out on education in Ethiopia than anywhere else in Africa. 68% of women believe their husbands have a right to beat them. 41% are married before they are 18. Sierra Leone, 94% of displaced households reported sexual assault, including rape, torture, and slavery during the 11 years of civil war. 88% of women have undergone female genital mutilation. And worldwide, over 60 million girls are child brides, and 603 million women live in countries where domestic violence is not yet considered a crime. This is why we have to do something. Women must become active citizens and contribute to the economy and the negotiating tables. With only 17% of women participating politically on a global level, most women don't have a say in the decisions that affect them. I always say and strongly believe that a stable family environment is the foundation to a better nation. In one of her speeches, Zainab Selby, the founder of Women for Women International, spoke out about violence against women in war-torn countries. And during the question period, one woman stepped up to the microphone and said to her, "Everything you described is what is happening right in our own backyards, and I am from middle-class America." She said, "I see this around me every day." In which Zainab Selby replied, "Showing our vulnerability is what makes us better leaders." The reason I told you the story is because there is not a single country in the world where women are treated equal to their male counterparts. And Ms. Selby made a good point. There is a lot of talk about women's issues and violence against women, but we must deliver. We must become active, and we must do something about it. There is evil in this world, but there is much more good. And one of the examples of good is Mr. Mehrdad Rahbar, and also his team that consists of as many men as it does women. People like them are taking a step into actually making a difference. People like Mr. Rahbar and my father are not just talking about it, but are actually doing something about it. We cannot move forward unless we acknowledge inequality and violence against women. Women have to realize their worth. Art and the media play a critical role in exposing these injustices. Mr. Rahbar is using his art to communicate to women of their value and worth by making this sculpture to remind everyone of the significance of women's roles in society. With your help, I'm certain that his dream will come true in making this a global movement. This will hopefully be Mr. Rahbar's first of many sculptures around the world called When Women Rise. By being here and showing your support, you are making this a possibility. You are all a part of this cause, and I thank you so much. It is one thing to have women stand up and speak out against violence and fight for their own rights, and there are many who make tremendous efforts. But it really gives me so much hope and strength to see men stand up, rise, and speak up against the injustices on women. On behalf of women around the world, I would like to thank Mr. Rahbar for everything he is doing to make a difference. I would also like to thank the University of British Columbia and the class of 2013. And I also want to mention that if anybody wants, my CDs are also for sale, and everything will be going directly to this cause. So if you'd like to purchase any of my CDs, I think they're over there for sale. I will do one more song for you. And I wrote this for the children and women. When I went to visit an orphanage, my heart was broken, and I continued to go there for years, bi-weekly, and help them through the Azizi Foundation. But before I could do that, I didn't have another way of helping them, so I wrote a song. and it's called My Love, and I will sing it to you now. And I want to thank everybody so much for being here. Thank you.
Please give another round of applause for Mehrdad. Thank you for coming out tonight to share these wonderful songs with us. You're an inspiration. As a thank you, we would like to give you a gift. It is a small token of appreciation showing what you mean to this project. We're very glad to have you perform tonight. At this time, I'd also like to acknowledge the amazing food we've been eating all night, crafted by my good friend and gourmet chef, Behzad Jamshidi. Behzad has been part of this project since the beginning and has volunteered to devise and create the wonderful treats we have all been enjoying. Behz will also be speaking at TEDx soon. Finally, to end the round of speeches, I'd like to introduce Mehrdad. To understand the creative process behind the sculpture, Mehrdad was born in Iran and moved to Canada at a young age, getting his master's degree in architecture. He is currently running a successful architectural and development company here in Vancouver and has made great accomplishments with it. Though he continues to run his company, he multitasks in being a political activist and artist for the struggle against women's inequality against the world. Now introducing to you the most amazing father and person in the world, my dad, Mehrdad Robert.
Really a heartfelt thank you to all the volunteers. They're all the students, people they're serving you. They're all UBC, SFU, Emily Carr students are here today. People in the kitchen, we made sure they're professional chefs and sous chefs. Sarah mentioned Bez's name, and you will write down this name, you will remember it one day. He's a genius who's taking care of our kitchen. And so Michael is my partner, the founder of this sculpture that gave this speech. I owe it to him. And I underline that. And every time I go anywhere without him, this couldn't have happened. I dropped this proposal 4 years ago with UBC. I followed up for a few months with him when he was a president of a student association, and then a year and a half ago, I was moving my office. We had made a cardboard model of the sculpture for the proposal, and we photographed it. And when I was moving, it just fell off the bookshelf and it broke. And then I looked at it, and I said, it's not gonna happen. And I threw it in the garbage. 2 months later, I got a phone call from this young man, and he said, you're still thinking about that sculpture? It's gonna happen. He knows how to work with the politics of the university, and that's why he made it happen. Thank you, Michael. And I guess before I start, I guess a lot of you wonder why I'm doing this and who I am and why bother with this. I think I'll just give you a little introduction. Before going there, actually, I want to acknowledge all of you here. You're being here, I don't know, there are 120, 130 people here, but I call you all our partners as much as all these people tonight put this show together. They're our partners, and I want to call every one of you a partner in this, because this is a global movement we're starting. I'm not a sculptor. I'm not a professional painter. I'm doing this for a cause. I'm doing everything for a cause. I haven't sold even one painting so far, so I'm not doing it for money. And this is a cause I believe in. And I want you to remember that this will happen. This sculpture will happen. And I welcome all of you. Get up from your seat. Have a look at the sculptures, go see the paintings. It's not a sit-down dinner party, intentionally. We didn't want to serve dinner. We want you to mingle, to walk around, see the artworks. Support us. We're selling items at the desk. We came up with items of $5, $20, $40, up to $300 for prints. And I'll be very pleased to explain to you about some of these prints. One of them has very close, actually, recently touched my heart, are these prints here, these 3 that you see. I have a series of 10, so I haven't had the time to draw them all. But this is about a story of a rooster. The rooster is calling people to wake up. And there are poetries embodied in these roosters, in these frames. And if you're Persian, unfortunately, I'll try to do some in English. But the rooster is trying to call for people to wake up, because we often get very comfortable in our bed, and I know early morning we struggle to get up and do something. So the rooster series, you'll be seeing more of these, and they're giving this message of to wake up people. And if people don't wake up, I'll be that rooster and I'll keep calling. And just to, I give you, I think, Mehrdad, thank you very much for her accomplishment and nice words about me. I want to ask Mr. and Mrs. Jamalzadeh to stand up, please. And I want you to all know where Mehrdad came from. Please. Mrs. Jamalzadeh, where is she? Your woman left you already. All right, so that's Mr. Jamalzadeh. And where I come from, and I'll just give you a little brief of my life. And I grew up in a family that I'm very proud that my father never, living in a male-dominant society, such as Iran, I grew up in a family, it was even more modern than Canada. My father taught us to respect women because he respected my mom. Thank you. And my mom. We always did the tasks at home. We were one sister and three brothers. We washed dishes all together. We had days, and sometimes I hated them for doing that. But, you know, we had to clear the table. Every task were equal. Even our pocket money, my sister was getting more pocket money than us three brothers, and we were kind of upset because our friends in a male-dominant society, boys were getting more pocket money than girls, and all my friends were doing that. And we were getting like $20 a week, and my sister was getting $50 a week. She was just a year older than me. And I was so mad at you, Dad, sometimes. But you know what? That made me change. Later on, I became a father, and I treated my children the same way. I have two sons, and they're on the floor here, and my daughter, you saw, and I treat them the same. I never talk to them or preach them, but with my action, I try to teach them. And they are equal. My daughter is not any better than them or any worse. They're equal. Three of them are equal. I'm just sharing you, I will share you with the process of thoughts behind most of these paintings, some of them related, strongly dedicated to women, and some of actually the whole painting started, the painting in the center of that second wall to your left, to my left, it's called When Women Rise. I must dry it, I'm gonna try some water. I did that painting. There was a thought process. I lived in Montreal in 1989. There was a massacre took place in Montreal. I don't know if you all remember that. Some of you perhaps didn't live here, but the ones that lived in Canada, and particularly the ones that lived in Montreal, I see one of them here, my friend Mo. There was a gunman walked into a Université de Montréal, École Polytechnique, and that man massacred 14 engineering students in an engineering faculty for two reasons. One, they were women. Two, they were studying engineering. And in court, he said that women cannot study engineering and technical. And he separated men from women. And he just shot 14 innocent young girls, just like some of these girls here, shot them to death. So I cried that night. And later on, I followed the events in Iran in 2008 and 2009. The uprising touched me a lot because that was my home. I hadn't gone back for 30 years. And I saw the majority of people were rallying and marching and screaming. I could hear the majority of voices were women, young women. Later on was Arab Spring. Again, in the streets of Cairo and Tunis, women again. Majority of demonstrators were women. And in 2011, I was bringing Sarah to school, and she was getting ready, and she was choosing what to wear to go to school. I heard the news. It was 8 o'clock in the morning about Malala. She was shot in the head, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. I never forget. And I went downstairs and I saw my daughter. She's getting ready. She's trying to decide what to wear. And here there's a young girl. Her crime was just because she was going to school. And her second crime was because she was a female. So these things touched me greatly and just went on. And even more recently, I hear at McGill campus in Montreal, a couple of girls were raped or attempted rapes. At UBC a year ago, when we started this project, 2 girls were assaulted or attempted to rape. So this is not going away, and it not only belongs to Africa or Asia or anywhere. Maybe the intensity, it's different or fluctuates in different regions, but it's a problem. So all these together, that's a thought process that I'm talking about. So the proposal went to UBC, and that's what you see, and they told us that, okay, they gave us a site, a great, great location. I think it couldn't have been a better location. We have a website, you can see it. It's got a field, a grass field in the front, and it's got a great kind of outdoor space. And so we were so fortunate to pick that location for us. So then we said, okay, that's the location. They gave us permits because everything goes in UBC. It's just they treat it like a building. So we had to go through building permit process, development process, and all that. Finally, we got granted to get to do the project, which I remind you, this is the first project with this team in the world. Trust me, you can Google and check around. This is going to be the first one. And please be proud. You will be part of it. You will be a partner in that. Really, not me, not 10 of us, not 20 of us. We need more people. We will go under this globe all together. We need millions of people. And you're part of that group. You're partners with us. And we want men. We want more men involved. Miriam talked about it. We cannot do this, only say that this is women's problem. This is your daughter, this is your mother, this is your girlfriend, your partner, your wife. Women are part of you. Exercise from tomorrow. 50% of your gene is made up, your DNA made up with women. So we need more men. I've got a painting actually showing the first one to the left. A man behind 3-4 women figures, and the man says, I'm standing up for you, I rise for you. So a lot of these paintings have poetries and messages. And I'm so glad and thankful to my friend Lori, who is an artist, North Shore artist. Lori, could you stand up? I know you're tired. I saw her teaching today, and I went to spy on her. Anyway, Lori is giving me the pleasure of presenting my work, and it's an honor for me. What she's holding in her hand is the prints that we gave you some handouts about the prints. These are the originals. Unfortunately, I'm not selling them for now. Later on, for sure, I will have to sell them. But for now, as a help, we're asking you, there are forms here, order forms, and we can do them online. You could purchase these prints. The smaller ones, they're $300. The larger ones, $325. That's not the value of the print, I know. You can buy them at IKEA for, I don't know, $75 or something, but this is a gift you get in return. So we put a price, $300 for these prints you get, and you can compare the quality. That print that you see there, if you can all look at it, Lori and Michael are holding it. The original is sitting right there. So it's very close to the original. Not only we just print and sell, I work on every one of them. We made a decision that 100 of them will be limited, and I'll sign, and I'll do touch-ups on every one of them. So they will even look original. So far, we had many friends, even here they're sitting, they picked up some of these prints to help. So I thank you, some of them. One of them is sitting right in front of me. So the next step is, I would like you to get up after my speech, just go around. We've got gifts for even as low as $5. Great Christmas gifts. We got T-shirts, and our friends are there, volunteers are there to serve you and to move it further. And I really appreciate all of you to extend this networking. And we want these 120 people or 130 people to be extended. Next time we have an event, I'd like to see 1,500 people or 2,500 people. And you will be a partner in this. And last but not the least, I want to thank from really deepest thanks to my dear friend. I know she's so humble, and she said, don't mention my name, and this is our, we don't believe in that. But I don't know, with your permission, is a friend of mine. She sits on the Iranian Women Cultural Society. And all the women that from that society are here. I can see some of them here. I want to thank all of them. They've been tremendous help. They've been going out, talking to their friends, and they took it with their heart. And I was so touched with them. Everywhere I go, I talk about these women. And I said, it really mattered to them. And that's what really touched me so hard. I don't know, should I or not, Golnaz? Please stand up. I like people to know who you are. And she told me her grandmother told her that whatever you do in life, don't have expectations. And you don't do it for recognition. And I really felt it every time I meet her. She's so humble. And I like people to be like that. This is a role model, this woman. And thank you so much. Thank you. And I want to conclude my speech. I think it's getting long and you're getting bored. And after my speech, I would like you to get up and look at the paintings and interact with some of those volunteers there. And Lori is getting bored, actually, in that corner. So this is not going to stop at the sculpture level. After the sculpture is done, or even before, we're planning to start a society. And we want to link it to hopefully UBC, and we want to work around the globe, particularly with Afghanistan, to get a scholarship program, raise money for young girls that don't have the opportunity to get education. And we want to start with one girl in our first project. But this is a commitment, just like anything else that I've done. This is a commitment I promise I will do, and I wanted to do it for Afghanistan. So I thank you so much again. I thank you all the volunteers. You're all wonderful. And anyway, enjoy it and walk around, socialize with people. Some of my friends here, volunteers, know about the paintings. They can explain you a little bit. And I'll be happy to explain whatever I can do and get you familiar. And we really, really, really need your help. And before I forget, I want to thank, where's Marianne? Oh, we talk about women, importance of women. What I believe in also, we got to get more women in politics. My dear friend Marianne Booth, she's a city councilor or district councilor at West Vancouver. Please get up. I want people to see you, please. And a year ago, when I approached a lot of politicians. I have good relationship with a lot of mayors and city councilors. She's the only one, really, she opened her arms. She said, unconditionally, I'm in it. And ever since, she's part of our team. We have weekly meetings, and we have programs, we discuss things. We have a group of all our team members. We work together, we discuss things. We make a decision. Every decision we make together. We email each other. And Marianne, thank you so much for your support. And that will not be forgotten. And you're a wonderful woman and a great politician. We need to support her time in and time out. Thank you, Marianne. Next mayor. There is a rumor going on. That's our next mayor in West Vancouver. thank you so much. I'm not going to bore you anymore, and I'm going to let Sarah to tell you about the next program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My dad was pretty humble about me speaking of him as well. He told me not to speak too much about his life and everything, but I just wanted to say a few words about how I feel about everything. I just find it truly inspiring to have one of the closest people in my life being so passionate and perseverant in accomplishing something so significant. Of course, if the world existed of people only like my dad, then we wouldn't be having this global issue. But unfortunately, it's not that simple, and we need all the help we can get. This isn't just a sculpture of beauty, but of great meaning. And as you can see around are some prints of his paintings that are being sold. I can only hope that you'd be as touched by them as I am. But if you're looking for other ways to support the sculpture, we are also selling t-shirts, coasters, and greeting cards, all of which make of great holiday gifts. Also, as many of you are professionals in the audience, if any of you would be willing to offer your services or contacts directly to this project, or indirectly to be auctioned off at one of our future events, please feel free to talk to any of the volunteers at any of the tables. Or if you're inclined to donate, that would be greatly appreciated, and we are able to issue tax receipts. So, finally, and most definitely not least, I'd like to introduce to you two incredibly talented young musicians, Lily Carr and Kyle Broadbent. Lily's also one of my really close friends who jumped on board with this project as soon as I gave her the slightest bit of an introduction. Here up front, playing for you all tonight, are the most passionate people I know, the Eastwoods.